All right, good evening. Thank you for joining us for the November 2nd Board of Selectmen's meeting. The rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcements this evening. Don't forget to get out and vote tonight. Polls are open until 8 o'clock. All voting in Waterboro is done at the Massabesic Middle School off of Route 5. Voter turnout has been very good today, so if you haven't voted, make sure that you still have a couple hours to get out and vote. Also, a reminder that there'll be a flu clinic here at Town Hall on Thursday, this Thursday, from 2 to 5 p.m. First on the agenda tonight, we have an appointment with Owens and Clint for the transfer station work.
Good evening. I think tonight we just wanted to go through the contract, and I believe Nancy has passed out copies to everybody. Okay. And I have 3 originals here should the board decide to award the contract that could actually form what you sign.
Okay.
If it'd be appropriate, I'll just walk through what's in the contract. What I typically do is I include copies of all the addendums, which are in the first few pages. I include a copy of the low bidder's original bid in there, so all of that forms it. And then you get about halfway back, and that starts the actual agreement, and it starts on page A1. And the agreement date would be today, should you sign it, the 2nd of November. And what the agreement does is it's the same agreement that was in the original bid document, except for we've made a couple of modifications because the town is buying some of the materials yourself, so we had to make those adjustments. So if everybody gets to the first page, would look like this, about halfway back. And then the second page will have a table in it that looks like this. Nope, that looks like the agreement.
It's here, John.
It says A2.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's way in
Sure,
the
I get the
middle.
last pages here.
Nope, it's here, John.
Okay. Okay.
Says amended schedule of items and contract amount.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you, Gordon. Yeah, that's correct. So on that, what I inserted in the actual contract amount will be $49,000. And when you see on page A2 it says amended schedule, it shows the original Ironman bid, which was $100,000. Then there were items we deducted, which was the concrete, the pavement, they had the Jersey barriers, the Marathon RJ 450, the hopper and compactor steel, drainage piping, and the structure. We still left the rebar in your bid because we got a better price out of your sub than we did out of ours for the rebar. So that still remains in his bid. Those total deducts are $51,000. So that makes his revised contract $49,000. And then down below at the bottom of the page, the price deductions reflect the town paying directly for the following materials, which is the steel for the hopper assembly, and I gave the exact quantities that was in his bid. Concrete for slabs and walls, which were 114 cubic yards total. The compactor unit, Ironman is still responsible for the variable frequency drive. That's the electronics that takes the single phase and puts it in the 3-phase. The contractor is going to use on-site town stockpiles for gravel, loam, and sand materials. Then the next page, A3, the town is going to buy the drainage materials directly. The paving we pulled out of his contract because we think that we'll probably be able to pave it for less under your COG contract. And then the town is going to provide up to 25 concrete blocks for the traffic control, which we got a price on. You take those, and then the next paragraph down, at the last meeting we had a discussion that if there was any overages, say in the concrete, if Iron Man carried 114 cubic yards of concrete, let's say it came in at 120 yards of concrete, then he would be responsible for those overages because that's based on his original bid. And I did put in there a provision also because some discussion came up that if it came in less, should the contractor benefit from that? And on the second, on A-3, the last sentence, it says, well, I'll just read the whole paragraph. The contractor shall be responsible for all other materials and required labor to complete the project in its entirety ready for owner acceptance and compliant with the requirements of the contract plans and documents. Any overages in materials beyond the amounts of materials specified above for those items to be provided by the town shall be the responsibility of the contractor. So if he goes over, he pays for it. At the town's discretion, any cost savings due to a lesser material amounts required for the project for those items specified above may be refunded to the contractor at the town's sole discretion. So you would have the ability to say, okay, you came in at 105 yards of concrete. That's a cost difference of this. We'll refund that to you. It's up to you. I think the board wanted to leave that option open, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I didn't commit you to it, but it is open should you decide to do that. And I think we're really only really talking about the concrete. Then the rest of it outlines standard provisions for insurances, exemptions for the town so that if something happens, it's the contractor's responsibility if there was somebody injured or something like that on the site. There is a requirement that the contractor provide a performance and payment bond so that if for some reason, not that you would, but if for some reason you defaulted on the job, the town would have the bond. He needs the contract date, which if it's signed today, he will have that, and then he will have the bond executed. He has a draft of it here, and then that needs to be delivered to the town in place, actually, before you mobilize on the site. Also, I need to check with Nancy. I called today, but we missed each other because she's helping with the elections. I've asked Lucas to provide an insurance certificate to the town, naming the town as an additional insured. And I'm not sure if...
I believe they're going to mail that to you directly in the policy.
Okay.
They mail it directly to the person receiving the proof of insurance, so.
What I
I'll
would-
check tomorrow.
Okay.
The way these
But I believe that's
contracts...
how it's going. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Who's supposed to, so.
The way these contract documents are set up is that if you sign these tonight, and Lucas signs these, he can't start until we give him the notice to proceed. I have a form at the office that I can send Nancy, so once she receives the bonds and the insurance certificate, she can simply sign it and give it to him as a notice to proceed.
Okay.
I mean, typically you want those bonds in place before you start. It's, not worried that it won't happen, but it's just, I just don't want it to slip through the cracks, so. Then the rest of the contract is simply the specifications and the performances on it. There's also a lien waiver in there. I would imagine that the town, before they pay the contractor, would ask him to have waivers and lien waivers signed for any materials that he's buying directly. We've removed a lot of that from him since the town's buying it directly, but there is still some materials he will be getting himself. And what I did was I brought along 3 contracts, copies tonight. One would, 2 could stay with the town, 1 to the contractor, so you'd have that on record for it. And at the back, there's 2 locations to sign. One is, and I'm not sure who, I put office of the Selectmen, so I wasn't sure, or Matt, I wasn't sure who would be signing that, whether you delegate that to Nancy, or whether Tammy, whether you as the chairman signs it.
Yep.
So I sort of left that for you to, and then there's another one for the contractor to sign, and there's a spot that they get witnessed for that. So that's the contract. Unless
Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. Is there anything within the parameters of this contract that changes the specifications of the bid that would require us to go out a second time for a bid. I had that question raised by one of the contractors, that the original bid, they were bidding on a new compactor. Now, this reduction shows a used compactor, you know, and there's some changes in there. Does that negatively affect the bids supplied by the other contractors that would require this board to go out and seek?
Well, you have the right within the contract, it's written in the contract that you have the right to waive, let me make sure I read this right, because I always get this. The town of Waterboro reserves the right to accept or reject any and all bids, and reserves the right to negotiate with the selected contractor when it's deemed in the best interest of the town. Now, so you do have some rights in there to, for instance, value engineer the project, removing materials from this contractor's bid if that contractor is agreeable to it. I think, and I know what you're referring to is the compactor units. We had specified a brand-new compactor in there originally. Clint was able to find, through another vendor, a used compactor that would serve the needs for the town. So we did pull that out, and we got a price for a used compactor, which saves quite a bit of money. That's been pulled out of his contract back into the town's realm. So you could, if it hasn't. I talked to Nancy about this, and I thought that you had already agreed to award the compactor to a certain entity. The used one is what she thought. If that wasn't the case, you do have the right to ask for prices from other vendors for the compactor units. I think you have the right either way. I think you could go either way on this and be okay. But that's certainly a possibility.
And I think in the bid specs and the bid package that was put forward, there's language in there that allows us to negotiate the bid, so if there are some changes, we're within our rights to do so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we went through this when we first started to say, hey, let's have the negotiation or launch the negotiation. I mean, we negotiated with the lowest bidder, who was 14% below anybody else, so I'm not sure where anybody else would, you know, just over the compactor. And had we set with someone else, we'd have pulled the compactor out of there.
Yeah, it would have been the same with any of the bidders.
Net, I think that works.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, I'd just rather have the question out on the table
Oh, no,
now,
I agree.
rather than have, you know, whispering behind the scenes that, you know, something wasn't kosher, and if we bring it out in the open and discuss it, then everybody
agree.
hears it, and they've got no argument.
And I think you can go either way.
Okay. Any other questions? Does somebody want a motion that we move old business forward
Yeah, I
and
would.
do number 2 and 3 now?
I would move that we move item not one under old business up to, right now?
1 and 2?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
guys just want me
Okay.
out
You
the
need to do them
door.
both.
Yeah.
John, you need to do them both, 1 and 2.
1 and 2, John?
1 and 2, yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Okay, so then I would entertain a motion to award the transfer station bid.
So moved.
To who? We need to know who we're going to award the bid to.
To Iron Man.
Okay, is there a second?
For the second.
Okay, all those in favor? And I would entertain a motion to vote on the transfer station contract as presented by Owen McCullough.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Perfect.
All right.
So,
I can leave these with you if you want to sign now, or do you
Yeah.
want to? Okay. I mean, I apologize.
We'll get those out of there.
Underneath this, Selectmen.
Oh,
And it should be Selectmen.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
But maybe somebody will have to witness your signature, maybe Gordon. would
Pam's
be-
right over
oh,
there,
Pam.
so.
She's
If you want that responsibility, Gordon.
I'm a notary, she's a minimus. Dedimus. What did I say, minimus? Yeah, that's from the papers here. Okay.
I'll move on down to see Pam.
There we go.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hallelujah.
Done. Phew.
Long time coming.
Yes. Okay, moving on, hearing a delegation.
Any one of your 4 people want to say it?
Seeing none.
Do we have any phone-ins from the viewing audience?
Correspondence this evening, we have the memo from the assessor regarding the 2011 state valuation. We have, Jerry, did you want to make any comments about the state valuation? Seeing as you just walked in the door?
The proposed state valuation from the state Department of Revenue reduced our valuation for the coming year, which is something they don't do very often, but because of the times we're in, they did reduce it by 4% thereabouts. Last year it was $775,700,000. And this year it'll be $765,550,000. Our present town valuation is at 100%, and we're within 5%, actually we're 5% above the state valuation, based on the fiscal year 2011.
So we're within our means.
We're kind of within the range.
Any questions for Jerry on
Yeah,
this?
and maybe you don't know this, Jerry, but I know we got the York County numbers here. Are we consistent? Is the state's valuation with us consistent with what they've done with every other municipality? In other words, if they've reduced our state valuation by 4%, is that typical of the rest of the county?
It's hard to say because I don't have the statistics on
And I
the others.
understand that.
Yeah, I think they would rather do a study individually of each town because they all run.
But it's still indicative of the market.
It's still indicative of the market.
Jerry, what does this reduction do for the homeowner or the taxpayer in the town?
I think it only says that the values that the state recognizes that are occurring in the town of Waterboro are on the downside, but we already know that. And whether it continues as we head into the next 12 months, as long as within a 10% range, and I think that's what they're hanging their hat on, the world is okay. Once we start dropping below 10% or increasing above 10%, then they would probably start to be concerned. But they won't be concerned until we hit that 10%.
So will this affect us if the other towns in MSAD 57, not MSAD, but SI
RSU.
57, do not go down, that we pay a different proportion of that bill?
I can't answer that. I'm not sure. But it would be based on, as you know, as I indicated, the grants are based on the values of the town.
John's point is exactly right. If we go down 4 and everybody else stays the same, then presumably that's a benefit to us, given, let's assume that the head count, student head count or population stays the same. Typically, it's been the opposite. Our valuation has been going up, and some of the other municipalities in part of RSU 57 have either stayed the same or gone down. So we ultimately have seen the brunt of that. But So kind of goes back to what else is happening in York County, but at least we ought to figure out, if we can, what happened in the other 5 towns of RSU 57, so we can at least look at that logically, I guess.
And this is a proposed list, and it's subject to a change, although it rarely ever changes, but there are times when they will.
Okay. Thanks, Jerry. Also under correspondence, we have an abatement request. It's an abatement that Jerry has recommended be denied, so we'll have it on the agenda for next week. And we also have a report from our code enforcement officer. Under reports, town administrator this evening is at the polls. She's been acting as the town clerk for this election, and I have to give kudos to Nancy. She's been putting in some very long hours. She's been here a lot of times at night last week until 9:30, 10 o'clock getting stuff done. So she's worked really hard to do this along with her town administrator duties as well. And all of our staff has really kicked in to help with the absentee ballots. We've been down a person, so it's been a burden on everybody, and it's been nice to see them pull together and make that work. Selectmen's reports?
Particularly in response to your comment, there was an unusually large number of absentee ballots cast this year, so that compounded the situation for the girls, and I think they certainly did an absolutely admirable job out there.
I think there seems to be, over the past 4 or 5 years, something that people are doing is they're voting more when they find it more convenient rather than coming on the day of the poll, which is fine. I think this year sometimes people have been holding off because there's been so many changes going on as far as momentum and things, especially in the gubernatorial race, that some people that had voted 3 weeks ago kind of have changed their mind and have asked to be able to re-vote. Now, I don't know where we stand on that horse.
There's actually something in the Portland Press Herald today where there is a provision that you can re-vote. So I guess if you vote at 8 o'clock in the morning on the day of the polls, if you want to go re-vote at 7 o'clock at night, I guess you can.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that.
I think that
I'm being a little facetious about that, but
absentee ballot.
Yeah,
Only
it's
re-vote,
no,
only
it's
out.
only if the
absentee,
absentee ballot has not been processed. If it's been processed, that negates that.
Yeah, the other thing is absentee voting is up because the state, in all their infamous wisdom, is driving people to more and more to vote absentee ballot. So we keep changing the laws to make it easier. So the old traditional day of going to the polls will soon be behind us if everybody has their way. I mean, some states are voting on the internet. I mean, that's... Huh? Yeah, don't bring it down.
Yeah, especially if you're a uniformed law enforcement officer.
Any other selectmen's reports? Okay, moving on. Committee report, transfer station manager. Clint, that would be you.
Shot. Everything's going great. Okay, for the first 4 months of this fiscal year, the income is up $13,365, and our expenses are up 1.5% over last year. And I think this is to do with extra demolition that we're taking in. It's a non-recyclable tipping. It's up $2,800. I think that's going to drop, I hope, because when the snow comes, it usually drops way back. So this is the busy time of the year.
Aren't our fees up by the
Yeah.
same amount?
Oh, yeah.
So net, are we ahead, or you said
We're ahead.
we're ahead?
We're ahead. Okay, and recycling, I don't know if you figured that lately or not, Dennis, but July of last year, it was 11.35%. This year it's 21.27%. And if you go down through the first 3 months, or up until, including September, we're up about 10% over last year in recycling.
That's great.
You know, it's within a point or two, but it's just about 10%.
What do you think is getting people into recycling?
Talking about it, keeping it right there in front of them all the time, I think that helps. Some of it is the containers that are around town, but I don't think it's that much. A lot more people are recycling now than did last year, a lot more.
I think there may be an incentive not to bring the paper bag issue up again.
Yeah. I think that helped. I think that helped. And the drop that we had in September down to 24% from 27 the month before, I think that's the out-of-staters going home because they really recycle. I mean, they evidently have to do it down there, so it's just natural to do it here. Household waste, July, August, and September of last year was 662 tons. This year was 485. So if you calculate that calculated out, it's about $17,000 we've saved in 3 months. And I think
Driven by
the
the fact that we changed who could go in and...
That's right. We're not paying for every business and every other thing in town. We're paying just for what we're shipping out of there. I just shipped 43 tons of metal, and I talked to them today, and that amounted to $6,454, and we should be getting the check within 2 days, she said. And this will add another, that'll make the revenue go up by around 13,000. But now I've been going to school. The state come out with another, I don't know what you want to call it, but I didn't like it too well. But anybody who is certified to run a transfer station that has their certification, now they've gone every 5 years. You've got to be recertified and retested. So they started that. I've been going, taking all the courses, trying to take them all. And last week I took one on special waste, universal waste, asbestos training, lead abatement, which is something that just went into effect September 1st. It's now law and it's federal. And I think I brought this up last year, and I think the comment was from some that, well, it's not going to affect Waterboro, but it is going to affect Waterboro, because when somebody brings in anything that they've scraped off a building that's over 6 by 6 feet, it has to be bagged or we can't take it. If a contractor comes in, it has to be bagged. He has to prove that he tested it. Any door, any piece of wood that can't be put in that bag will have to be wrapped in plastic, or we just can't take it. He'll have to take it to Poland. And they're not going to take it either. But so it is going to cost the people a lot of money if they don't do it right. And I don't know if you're going to bring it up, David, or not, about the reduction we're going to get in the monthly fee that we have to pay.
Be my guest.
Be my guest. Well, this spring here, Willis and I were talking about EcoMaine and all the profits that they're making in there. And I said, Willis, you know, if they're going to make all these hundreds and hundreds of thousands and millions, some of that money should come back to the towns. And he said, well, that's a good idea. I think I'll go down and start hounding them. Well, he did.
As only Willis can do, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know if it was a present, you know, him leaving the board or what, but they voted that every town has $236,000 that all the towns are going to get back out of the profits they made on the recycling. And it amounts to about $600 a month to the town of Waterboro.
Wow.
Yeah. So $7,200 for the year.
Just qualified, we're not getting the money back. They're reducing our
They're
assessment
going to reduce
next year
it,
by that much.
but next year. But I know, it's something, it's a start. And I talked to the chief financial officer in there, and I wanted to make sure that this was right, and he said, yes, it was. And this should be the year that they should actually start going down on the cost of running the place and all the debt that they've paid off. So we should start seeing it this year, and the next 2 or 3 years, it should really go down.
Great.
So it's looking better.
Did the Hollis stickers get taken care of?
Yes, they did, yeah. Haven't heard?
No.
No. Well, it was sent out, and sent it for me. Must have been Friday, wasn't it? I think it was Friday we sent it out, so.
Okay, good.
We should hear something.
Great.
Yeah.
Any questions for Clint? Guess not, Ron.
Pat, I think you should get up and introduce yourself.
I was going to say, next is the Transfer Station Recycling Committee, and that's Pat.
Well, good evening, Madam Chairwoman and Board. It's a pleasure to be here, and I am very pleased to take on my new role as the chairwoman of the transfer station. And I know I have some pretty big shoes to fill with David stepping down as the chairman, but I know he's going to be looking over my shoulder every step of the way and guiding me, which I surely will appreciate. So I look forward to working with you, and other than what Clint has shared with you, we have a few good programs going on. David and Mike are looking into bringing a poster contest to the school system, and we're going to keep pushing recycling as much as possible in the town of Waterboro. It's just so important. I think we have a long way to go, but from Clint's numbers, we're definitely making some good progress. I like to see that our recycling rate is going up, and we're going to keep moving in that direction. So, thank you very much.
Okay,
Congratulations, Pat.
thank you. And EcoMaine rep.
I just have one other thing I want to comment on, and EcoMaine has been negotiating with a couple of different mining companies in the United States to have their landfill ash sifted and the metals taken out of it. And they're close to an agreement with a group from Florida. And if it comes through, it'll be roughly $280,000 they will be bringing in income. And it will replace roughly 6,700 cubic yards of landfill space. So they'll gain 6,700 cubic yards of space in their landfill, which is very valuable. So this is still in the process, but it looks like it's a go. So it's a unique operation, never been done in Maine before, so it's kind of interesting to follow this.
Anything else for EcoMaine?
No.
All right. Moving right along to new business, discuss vote to approve the abatement request. We have a couple of abatements in this evening. Let's see. We have 1018, 1019, and 1020.
Let's move that we take Jerry's recommendation and approve 1018, 1019, 1020.
Is there a second to that?
I didn't hear it.
He motioned that we take Jerry's suggestion and approve the abatements.
Second.
Okay? Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, also under abatements this evening, we had a request from Custron Property located on the Weber Road. Jerry has sent them notice that he recommends that their abatement not be approved. They would like a discussion from the board. I was under the understanding that they were going to be here this evening. It would appear that they're not. But they would like an official ruling from the board on what we are going to do with this abatement. And we had that in our packet last week and again this week.
Well, don't they,
I would
the next,
I would move that we support the denial of the request for property value reduction on 318 Weber Road as denoted in Jerry's October 7th, 2010 letter.
David?
Well, are you going to act on that?
Well, I didn't know if you had something to add that
Well,
was relevant.
No, not right. I thought the next process, they'd go to the appeal board.
They need a no from us
Okay,
first.
okay, all right. I'll second Dennis's.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. So Pam, if you could draft up a letter, and I'll stop in this week and we'll sign it. We have to send it to them within 10 days.
Madam Chair, if we could back up for a minute, if you wouldn't mind. I'd like to address something with the new chair of the transfer station. Have you given any thought to those recycling containers that we may sell to the citizens of the town that say, like, Town of Waterboro Recycling? I know a lot of other communities do that. And also those compost, they're black compost bins, I think that
We did sell those, I believe this spring.
Yeah.
We made them.
We've got, I think, 12 or 13 still down there. If anybody wants them.
The compost.
the compost
They're
bins,
$38.50.
$38.50.
And as far as the tubs, the little tubs you're talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
we can get those. I don't know what the price would be. It depends on how many you buy. So it can be anywhere from $8, $9 up to $13, but
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to offer that, if we're going to go that way with the town, because I think it's just, seeing that tub is an incentive for people to recycle. I know a
Yeah, I
lot of
think
towns use them.
If we're trying to motivate people to recycle, that, we, as a municipality, should try to provide something, visible that, has the, perhaps the town seal on it, the name, and says, recycle, those.
we tried that. We talked about that maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But you had to buy some damn many back then. And this company that does the compost is you can order so many in the spring, along with your other order. And you get them, at a reduced rate because everybody in the state's buying them together in the pool.
Well, I mean, possibly we could do some sort of thing at the transfer station to kind of take account as to whether people would purchase it. If we can get some pricing on it, again, Clint, maybe we can offer that as an
Well,
option.
The company that does this, it's done through the Maine Resource Recovery Association, which the town of Waterboro belongs to. They send us the flyers, everything we need for, the ads, what would go in the papers. They send us everything. We just take the orders. Pam does.
Thank you.
I had to say that, Pam.
We have one on display here.
All
But if
right.
anybody wants some of those compost bins, we've got them right down there.
Does that have the humdinger to stir them? And what was that called? It was some bizarre little... Wing dinger.
Oh, yeah.
A wing
We
bin?
don't have any more of those, but I think I could get
Is
some.
that
if
the
they want.
technical term?
Yeah, it
It
is.
is,
It's
yeah.
the fork to turn it.
Wow.
Yeah, we hope to make more of that type of stuff more visible to residents as we go
Maybe
along.
having one up on that little porch that's outside your office when people
Yeah.
drive by
Buy
and
one of
they
these.
see it.
Yeah.
That's what they're calling office?
Okay. Next, under new business, discuss drug-free zone signs. Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jim.
Gordon, that was you.
Yeah, that's part of the parks ordinance, that those be included, and I'd like to make a motion that we have the town administrator move forward with purchasing those for those areas in town that fall under the provisions of the state statute. There's a certain format, as you know, of what these signs have to look like. It was designated by the Commissioner of Public Safety in Jordan in compliance with the statute. And we have a number of parks that have children as I guess, participants, Friendship Park and Gobiel Park, and there's probably a number of other ones that are with the Land Trust as well. And I think that we really need to post that. And for those that might not be familiar with what that is out of the viewing audience, it's enhanced penalties for anyone that sells drugs within so many feet of these drug-free zones. They're very similar to, the radiuses that are around school property, that the penalties, both in monetary terms and in incarceration, increase. And it's a deterrent to, having drugs and so forth at these gathering places where children and so forth are present.
This is pretty well defined by the state, is it? As
Yes,
to its park areas and places like that?
It's any place where children are likely to be, so you can have it at playgrounds. You can actually, some private businesses, for example, if there was a McDonald's in town and they had one of those play centers that are in there, and you get a letter from them authorizing the posting, you could actually post that area, and that radius would be encompassed by it. But any of your public lands, municipalities have the authority to post that.
Do you know what the increase is as far as...
I don't have it offhand. I'd have to
Is
check
it
the
the same
statute.
as schools, or because that's a huge jump from what I understand?
I'm at a loss right now. I don't know. I'd have to check the statute. I know that the penalties and so forth are increased, but as to what extent, I can't give you a qualified answer on that.
So how many signs do you know?
I would-
Was there like 6 parks on the ordinance or something?
Yeah, there was
Wasn't all
a
that many.
list, yeah, and then you probably want some, other ones available, for places that, maybe like the golf course down there, if they wanted to do it, if kids go in there, just have some on hand so that, people applied, for that they could, we could readily install one without having to order. And I think that we can probably get a better pricing, by ordering a number of them initially rather than, doing it 1 or 2 at a time piecemeal. But that's my motion to have her go forward to check on the pricing of that, and so that we can comply with the provisions of our own ordinance.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Review committee attendance. This is 6 months ago or so, we discussed some committee attendance, and we had a couple members that the attendance was lacking. We said we would review it again, and Pam was able to get the attendance sheets for me, and for both of those members, there were 6 meetings, and they both only missed one meeting, so it looks like that problem's been rectified. Any other action or comments or whatnot?
Good.
Okay.
Have we made a provision to have periodic reviews of those attendance records?
Only if we ask.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be the responsibility of the chair of the committee to ensure that the people that are serving on their committee's attendance is 75%.
Does that extend, does the responsibility of that chair extend to them notifying this board if that attendance drops below that percentage?
Yes. Next, discuss vote to extend the municipal parking lot snowplow contract. Currently, we have a contract with Tim McCoy to do the municipal parking lots and the sidewalks. I thought Nancy was going to try to get us a copy of the current contract, but I noticed it's not in our packets this week. I'm going to guess she didn't get an opportunity to do that. I did talk to Tim quite extensively last week, and I think Pam had something from him that he would be interested in extending the snowplow contract for the same price that he did it last year. He did a good job. He was always available when we needed him. We didn't have any complaints or concerns. He also has the sidewalk contract, but he's not interested in extending that at the same cost. We're looking at probably having to go out to bid for that one. But when it comes time to talk about the sidewalk bid, Tim expressed some concerns, problems that he's run into on dealing with that, particularly related to citizens that live in that neighborhood, that after he goes through and plows and they're then blocking the sidewalk with the snow from their yard, or giving him a hard time about when he's going through that the snow is backing up into their yard, and getting confrontational with him. He's also had issue with snowmobiles traveling on the sidewalk and packing the snow, which then makes it impossible for him to clean up. And I told him that those are things that we can address if there's issues with property owners. Whoever has the sidewalk contract needs to let us know about that, so that the contract deputy can deal with it. And then the same thing with snowmobiles. Maybe we can look at putting up some signage. I know other municipalities have some signage about that, so something that we'll have to think about. But if we're going to go out to bid on the sidewalks, we need to do that immediately because it is November.
Was the other bid, did it give us an opening to extend it?
On the sidewalk?
Yeah,
I think so.
okay, so if we can extend,
They were one and the same bids.
yeah,
I think they were
The parking
separate.
lots.
Well, you're right.
They were
you're right.
separate
We did
bids,
separate.
because we did have two different people
Yeah,
that were,
yeah.
so I mean, if he's coming in with the same price and we can extend it legally, I mean, it's in the contract that we can do that, then I would move that we extend that, the
I like that.
contract for next year.
yeah, I want to look at the contract.
What?
I want to see it in the contract
He
first.
said that he's not interested in the sidewalk?
He is interested in the sidewalk, but not at the same cost as last year, so we would have to go out to bid.
Well, I think we'd be in a better position to bid both of them as a package than we would, I don't know, I mean, it'd be more attractive, I would think.
Yeah,
And
well, this one says that it expires 2009. And then
This is the one that we looked at the other day.
Okay, it shall be for 1 year, beginning December 24th, 2008,
Right,
and
and
ending
it's a
October
built-in-
31st,
The
2009.
built-in thing, as long as all parties are
Yep.
agreeable
Right.
and funding is available, so.
We're going to have a discussion on it, or?
yeah. Was it
Well-
$8,000? Oh, yeah,
Oh, we have his motion.
6375.
I'll second John's motion so we can move into the discussion.
Okay, so we have a motion to extend the contract, and we have a second discussion.
The question was raised with me by a citizen in town that wants to bid on that. And I hope the board can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have that long of a historical reference to fall back onto. But that person suggested that when these contracts are awarded, they're awarded for a 1-year period with the option to extend for 1 year, and then it goes out to bid again. I checked with our secretary on this very contract. The provisions of this contract allow us to extend by mutual agreement this contract almost indefinitely. There's no requirement for us, to go out to bid again. So
I mean, my concern is, in opening the contract, there's no guarantee that it's going to come in under the last year's price. So even the present contractor may increase his price. So even though he said he'd do it for the same, but if he's going competitively, there's no guarantee on that.
Yeah.
So
I'm raising the issue only because there was, a citizen in town had raised the issue with me, and I want to
Yeah.
make sure that it's out before the board so we can discuss it. So I think we ought to view it in its entirety of what is best for the town.
Well, I guess my put is that we're now into the kind of the 11th hour here. We need to do something, knowing that this wasn't, or Tim did not have the lowest bid when we went into this. We actually awarded a contract to another contractor. He agreed to pick it up for the same price. He's now agreeable to extend it. We've had started a discussion about the municipality having a small dump where we could take care of, a small dump truck where we can take care of this in ourselves. And we're already, we've got a blade on the town tractor that we take care of all of the transfer station, and I think we still do some bits and pieces of the library, but my put would be is, we need to get out of contracting this if we're gonna, we either need to do it all with a municipal vehicle or none of it. So, a little late to do that now, going into this winter season, but I think my put would be is to support an extension this time, and then early next year go out to look at how are we gonna do with it, how are we gonna deal with it going in the future in the budget process.
And I think that was one of Fred's CIPs that he was putting in for, was a public works truck with a plow on it, so that he
And a
could
sander.
take
Yeah,
care of all the parking lots,
We got an employee that
can manage it.
certainly can manage it, so. But, that being said, it's not in this current budget. I think we've got funding in it to cover at the same price that we're living with now.
And also, you're talking about a four-digit figure here rather than six.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
so you're even if you had time is of essence, and if you did come in lower, it would be hundreds lower,
Yeah.
not thousands lower. So if this was a $250,000 contract, then say we bid it.
If you go pull the old bids,
Yeah.
Tim dropped significantly to pick this up, because his bid was significantly over this, if I remember. So,
David, any discussion, comment? No. So we have a motion to extend it for 1 year for the same price as last year.
And
And we have a
this is for the
second.
municipal parking lots only.
Municipal parking lots only.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay.
yeah, just a point of, if we're gonna get into these kinds of discussions, then we need to make sure that the discussions with the contractor takes place with more than just one selectman.
Oh, and that wasn't the
I'm
conversation
not-
that I had with
yeah.
him. It was just he,
Really should
Was
be-
complaining about the sidewalk.
Should be taking place with the
Yeah.
administrator.
all right, moving on. Discuss vote the Laskey Junkyard Permit. We have that in our application, and Patty did send in her correspondence to us that she's done an inspection and that nothing has changed. There were no problems with the permit from last year.
I move that we accept the application.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
My only discussion is, we did 2 of these a month or so ago, and at the time, we asked about this one, and nobody kind of knew. I'd like to put, if we're gonna have 3 junkyards in town, or maybe we get more than that, I don't know, but we ought to have them all come due at the same time?
Well, they all expire October 30th. It's just when the applicant signs.
So it's supposed to be an annual permit, right? So either we come up with some notification process that we let them know that it's expiring, and if they wish to have it done, but in reality, if they don't renew it, you're back into a whole new process of licensing a new permit, right? So that's my only issue is if we're gonna continue to do them, that's fine,
All in one fell swoop.
right?
You know, this was received on the 19th of October.
I don't know when we get the other one. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay. Moving on to old business, we've already taken care of 1 and 2. On to number 3, discuss and vote planning board recommendation for growth ordinance. The planning board has recommended that we amend the growth ordinance to allow 74 growth permits be issued per year. And this number is based on 105% of building permits issued in the previous 10 years in accordance with Title 30A MRSA 4360. This was a vote by the planning board on October 13th with a 3-to-1 recommendation from the committee, from the planning board. So if we want to move this forward, we would need to amend the ordinance and go to the public hearing, post it and whatnot.
They're amended to 74. What is it now?
81,
81.
I believe.
I will move that we go forward with it to public hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? So Pam, if you could, I think it'll be just a minor change to the ordinance and get that posted and scheduled. Okay, we need a motion to assign or to sign the warrants for bills and payroll.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? We have the minutes from 9/7.
Move that we accept the minutes as written.
And we were all here? Okay, so we've got a motion and a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor? Pending decisions, we have the medical marijuana ordinance and the public service announcements, the week's action list. Jerry will get in touch with the McNalls to let them know we'll have them on the agenda for the abatement. And Pam will take care of drafting a letter for the one that was discussed tonight. Get Nancy to take care of the drug-free zone signs, and you'll follow up with that, Gordon?
Yes.
Okay. Pam, can you just jot a letter to Patty about maybe trying to get the junkyard permits in sync for next year? I know it's dependent on when they submit.
Yeah, it's their responsibility to come in and get the application. We have one that's right on top of it and comes in the 1st of October. The other one waits for me to send them an application.
Okay. Discussion of agenda items for next week. We have an executive session at 5:30. Nancy should have the information on the gate for the dam. She should have information on the performance audit report. We talked about having Fred come in next week to discuss the road budget. We'll talk with Nancy about getting sidewalk bids together. Anything else?
Fred's progress on Old Alford Road. When he's in here, I'd like to hear what the timeline is there, and what he's done, and what what needs to happen, when it's going to happen.
Okay. Dennis?
Really just was, if Tim has issues with what's been going on, would be nice to clear that air before we go out to the sidewalk stuff. So if Nancy can, as long as she's prepared to talk about that.
Yep.
You want Tim in?
That's what I'm kind of,
I think Tim can talk to her about it, that's fine with me. As long as we, you know, because some of that may have to be addressed in the ordinance, and some of it may be in the bid package, I'm not sure, but we need to get that squared away probably sooner than later.
We also have a public hearing on the annual GA maximums next week. And we have an appointment coming in at 6:15 requesting a zoning change. And you have several committee appointments.
We also, based on, after tonight, need to appoint the balance of the Charter Commission, assuming that 6 get elected tonight, not today.
yeah, we need to appoint 3.
Right.
I'm assuming that they probably will get elected because there's only 6 on the
There
ballot.
might be a handful of write-ins, wouldn't there?
Yeah, there could be.
Might be interesting, too, to have Nancy report on the progress on interviewing for town clerk. I understand that there's over 90 applications there,
96.
96 applications. So there's a whole bunch of people out there wanting to hear, and just want to make sure that everybody gets a response that, thank you for your application type response, and then what's going to happen in the timeline.
Okay.
Some more came in today.
Anything else? That gives us a pretty full agenda next week.
Right, she would take it.
Gives us a pretty full agenda for next week.
A lot of it's really short.
Yeah. Okay. Items needing signature, warrants for bills and payroll, minutes from 9/7, seal weapons applications, abatements, contract for the transfer station project, appointment papers, and the Laskey Junkyard Permit. Reminders, tomorrow, November 3rd at 6 p.m. is the 2020 Comprehensive Oversight Plan Committee at Central Station. Also tomorrow night is the Planning Board here at the Annex. Thursday, November 4th, from 2 to 5 is the flu clinic at Town Hall. Thursday, November 4th at 4 p.m. is the Economic Development Committee here at the Annex. Monday, November 8th, the Finance Committee is meeting at Town Hall. Also on November 8th at 7 p.m. is the Parks and Rec Committee. Tuesday, November 9th is the Selectmen's meeting starting at 5:30 with an executive session. Reporting next week, we have the librarian, the library trustees, and the Friends of the Waterboro Public Library. Also next week, Wednesday, November 10th at 6 p.m. is the Road Review Committee, and Wednesday, November 10th at 7 p.m. is the Southern Maine Regional Planning Workshop on Boardsmanship. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Yeah, thank you.